Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're now tuned into the one and only place where you can get what's needed on your plate along with what's going on in your hood. Candy Lady's gonna keep you up to date with events going on around your way. What's really good? SC by Black locally. Keep them dollars circulating in your own community. It's the SCBBL show. You're now tuned into the SCBBL show. Rock, rock, rock on. Rock, 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 rock on.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the SCBBL show. It's your girl, Candace, and today I am here with my brother, Tyrae Chisolm Sr. Fridays with Fathers. What's up, Tyrae?
Hey, what's going on? How's it going?
Nothing but my lovely sister in the background.
You know what it is. You know that, sir.
I am doing well. How are you?
I am wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm well. Now, I know how you have tried so hard to get out of this on.
Hey, don't start that. Don't start that. I found the sweet spot, so don't let me get that spot.
I want to say thank you so much for accepting my invitation to come on and speak to everybody on the things that you guys do in the background, but you don't want to speak about, or you just don't speak about. You just are executors of loving on your family, loving on your children, and being that example for other people. So I want to start off with just telling people like a little bit about Tyrae, you know, like what do you do, and a little bit of facts about you.
I'm a very quiet individual, stay low key behind the scenes. Work life, I am a energy inspector. My hobbies that I love to do, I love to officiate basketball and videography.
And that's why I'm teasing you today, because you are in front of the camera instead of behind the camera.
Where's that button?
Don't start.
Okay.
All right. So tell us about your children. Do you have any girls, or are you have all boys, or?
I have one girl.
Got one girl?
And you just heard her laughing her behind off in the back. That's all the female I need. One. And that's it. But I have 4 boys. Ages ranges from 24 to 11.
Wow. And that's even more important nowadays, to be a father of 4 Black boys in America today.
Yeah.
And we know what that's like for a mom, but to be a Black man raising 4 Black boys, what is that like? You know, like what is your level of like worryation, or what are some of the things that as a father you think about that's probably either the same or a little bit different than the mom's perspective?
From the mom, well,
because I'm sure you hear about her, you hear her perspective all the time. You know,
yeah, they're boys. So boys genuinely tend to lean towards the mom. You know, mama's boys and everything like that. So, but I come in when things are needed to be handled. But for the most part, they are very, you know, self-sufficient. They're not trouble. You know, they don't give us any trouble at all. If they need help with anything, they don't hesitate to ask. Overall, they're great. They're great men. I can say that, honestly say that. No trouble issues or anything like that. That's what I can say.
That's awesome. So just thinking about like everything that's happening in the world today, though, like what are some of your thoughts when you think about having them out there in the world and police brutality, some of the struggles that you've gone through probably on different jobs, things of that nature? Like, what are some of the things that goes through your head when you just think of having 4 boys today? That's probably either the same or a little bit different from when you were growing up.
Well, first of all, I can say that they are well protected. They know right from wrong. They know what to do. They know what not to do. That's first and foremost. They're not reactors. They always think before they act, so that will help them stay out of trouble if anything comes towards their way. As far as when I grew up, um, pretty much I knew the same thing as well. I had to learn some things the hard way, but for them, I've let them know that whatever they've done, I've done that for them, so they don't even have to go down that road.
Yep. Awesome. And so one of our topics tonight is like family dynamics. And I know that you have sort of a blended family, and some of us go through blended families. And I know for myself, it was, a little bit of a challenge adjusting when I came into my relationship. I had a child, she had a child, and we were raising our children together. And, when you come into that dynamic of being used to being the only decision maker, trying to like blend opinions of parenthood. And sometimes that can be a challenge. And sometimes the children can actually cause people to be like, that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So from your perspective, what is some advice you can give people today who want a healthy relationship, but they might not even recognize that the child or children are a part of what causes them not to have healthy relationships? What's something you can say from your experience that has helped you?
First of all, if you go into any relationship, whether the male has the child or children and vice versa, it's a package deal. You can't, what they say, have the cow
without the calves.
So I mean that's first and foremost. And for me, I did differently what was done to me because I was in a blended family for like 2.5, 3 years. It was my mom's ex-husband wanted the cow but didn't want the calf. And the calf didn't want to be there. So that makes a big difference. So like how I said, I did everything opposite of what was done to me. I did for my boys what I would have wanted done for me, which was respect first, then love, and all. Love comes with respect, so really.
L, go sit down, L.
Love comes with respect, and when respect is the first and foremost, everything else falls in line, and you give respect. You have to respect children as well as children having to respect you, so that's a two-way street. It's not like old school. I'm the eldest, so that you respect your elders. No, elders have to give respect in order to get respect as well. So yeah.
Most definitely. Shout out to my brother Damien watching. Elle says she is so proud of you and she's blowing kisses.
She's coming up and down the hallway making pictures and all that. Really.
Trip City. But no, I think that is beautiful. Like you said, a lot of our elders demand respect, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, respect doesn't. I mean, back then probably respect was demanded due to the times, but even if you look at it, respect shouldn't have to be demanded. Respect is always given because, like how you always have to give in order to get.
That's right.
Yeah. So
if you respect me, it makes it a whole lot easier for me to respect you. It's just like a automatic thing.
Right.
So when it comes down to some of the values, I think you touched on it a little bit already. I also love what you said about that of not doing what was done to you, but doing what you wanted or would have liked to be done. So the things that you did not have, you wanted to make sure that your family has. So on some of those values, when you think about your family, what are some of the values that you probably thought about before you even got a family and said that, okay, when I get my family, these are some of the things that are going to be important to me, as such as our family values?
Just starting your own tradition instead of the same thing, generations curses have to be broken, and for the most part curses keep carrying on because you're still carrying the same thing over and over and over. When you leave the nest, fly the coop, you start your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you evolve. You still tie in some of the things that you grew up with, but you don't have to take it on full force as your own. Once you start your family, you move out, you have your own house. That's your castle. You set the rules, you set the precedent.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't say that any better. Like, I think that that's definitely a challenge in the Black community, because as soon as you do something like that, it's like, oh, you think you're too good. Oh, you don't have time for us anymore. Like it's a whole deal. Instead of like a celebration of, oh, you're developing, your own thing. Like, I'm so proud. Like, that's different. I didn't think of it that way when I was growing up. It becomes more of it makes it, you feel torn, to a certain extent of like, dang, I thought my family would be happy for me, or, it's stuff like that we go through in our community that I think what you said is beautiful about break the curses and do something different. And as we grow and our children to start to do what we are doing now, let's be cheerleaders of the decisions that they make, as long as they're healthy, happy, not hurting anybody.
Right.
Things like that.
Causing hate and discontent towards no one. You respect yourself, and therefore, being that you respect yourself, respect will be reciprocated back to you. You attract what you are. So
yes. And I think that's a perfect segue into relationships, like the relationships when it comes to the family dynamics. Like,
yeah.
What is the relationship like with the spouse? What is the relationship like with the children? Some people get that confused. So in Ty's world, what is that relationship like in the house?
Ooh. It's never a dull moment, I can say that. Never a dull moment. But for the most part, it's like communication. You have to keep the lines of communication open. I wouldn't know what you're thinking unless you tell me. Because me personally, I'm not a mind reader, and I've mentioned that early on. Because it's like, I'm not going to say females in general. Well, I'll say females in general. Mm-hmm. When it comes to knowing how they feel, I can sense that you feel that you're feeling a little off, but I wouldn't know exactly how you're feeling unless you talk about it.
Yeah.
And same thing goes for the boys. I'm not gonna guess. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna pull teeth. I'm coming to you, asking you what's the problem. If you don't want to talk at the moment, let them have their moment, and go from there. They'll talk when they're ready.
Right.
Yeah. To force someone to communicate, that's not a good thing. You have to be willing to, reciprocate, telling your story, opposed to me listening to your story as well, and vice versa.
Gotcha. And I don't know why I thought about this question right now, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Like, when you hear the stories of on the radio for Thanksgiving time, like who plate does she fix first? Like, is it the child? Is it the husband?
Well, that was one of the traditions that was broken, because I thought that I was going to get my plate fixed first, but the kids were hungry, and Mama Bear fed the cubs. Yeah.
That question just came out the blue.
Yeah. But I mean, that right there. I mean, back then they said that was respect or whatever, you know. But I mean,
Yeah.
I tend to differ. I mean, because if my kids are hungry, I'm not gonna let them wait until I get home from work. You know, what probably might be 7, 8 o'clock at night. Back then, in those times, you know, the kid's hungry. Let them eat. You know,
Exactly.
I'll get my plate. Just set a plate aside for me. I'm gonna eat.
I love it, but that shows that the partnership there. It's not like I need it this way or you do it this way. It's that at the end of the day, let's come together. Let's talk about it. Let's compromise.
Yeah. What's the common ground?
Yeah. What are our common grounds, and where do we buckle a little bit and things like that. So when you think about work, family, wife, how do you balance all of that?
To be truthful, I just started balancing that because that was out of whack for a good while.
Mm-hmm.
Your family is your first priority before anything. Work, all that, whatever have you. Even though, work is an avenue to provide for the family. But if the household isn't right and you're going to work, you're pretty much neglecting the household, want to escape what's going on opposed to being there to help being the solution to, get the household back straight, So I'd say family, work.
Mm-hmm.
Work comes afterwards. Anyway, some people might not agree with me, but that's my opinion.
Right.
That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm. That's why I always like getting a variety of opinions, because what works for one doesn't work for the other, or vice versa.
Everyone's household is different.
Yep. And whereas some couples can say, like, we lose a job today, but together we're unstoppable. Right. Another couple might say, if you lose your job, I'm out.
Right.
So it's just all about what is the relationship like? What kind of values have you built around your family to sustain your relationship?
Repeat that for me.
All about how, what values have you instilled in your family to sustain your relationship is what matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had a series with moms. It was called Mondays with Moms, and it was the homeschool edition, thinking about what's happening in our society today with the pandemic, people having to change the way that we've been doing things forever, going to school and considering educating from home. As a father, how do you view education when it comes down to the kids, about grades and how they get their work done and college? Like, what are some of your thoughts from the father's perspective on education?
Education is important, but first and foremost, knowing yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the ultimate.
Wow. Yes.
That's the ultimate. You can go 12 years plus 4 more years to college, continuing education, med school. You can get all of that information, but if you don't know yourself, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball, because once you know yourself, you pretty much know everything there is to know for you and what to do. But education is important. I say that.
You just
I just leave it right there. I leave it right there.
You opened up a whole window though, like knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, that's like, it's only going to hit on the surface. It's only going to hit shallow. So it's like, I know myself. My favorite color is pink. My mom and them is this.
Knowing yourself is telling the dirty truth about yourself. Stuff that you don't want people to know. But that's like Okay, I'll say for instance for me, I'm 41. I didn't know myself for a long period of time. When I got with my wife, we just purchased a townhome. I lost my job that I had since high school for 6 years and 2 weeks to be exact.
Wow.
And that's all I knew was work. That's all I knew was work. I didn't know anything about family, anything. I just knew I had to go to work, provide for the family, put a roof over their head, food in the fridge so that they can eat, and that was that. Once I lost that,
it's like, yeah,
it was. I mean, so therefore, I mean, like I said, I didn't know myself, but knowing what my self-worth is now, had I known what I known then, would have been a lot further along. But that had to have happened for me to get to where I am now.
definitely. I couldn't agree more, because as you were talking, I was like, dang, what if I had knew myself before I went to college? Like, how would my college experience be different? You know?
Right. Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, like, I feel like these kids are so transparent. If you ask them a question today, the answers that you would have probably got from us would have been, it's totally different from, they just say exactly, this is how I feel. And
see, and back then, if we were asked a question and we answered like how kids answers today.
Exactly.
Get a backhand, you know, and it's like, but that's the truth.
Yep.
You know, I mean, that either you want me to tell the truth or lie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can't. It's like when someone asks you a question, my wife always say, "Be ready for the answer."
Exactly.
You know, or if you ask a question,
be ready for the answer.
You probably might not like the answer, but when the person answers, that's their truth. That's what you want. You want the truth. You know, and a lot of people can't handle that.
Yep. And I think it's all about, you know, the society changes too as we progress. So at a certain time, it was like they tried to raise us to who they thought society would accept.
Yep.
You know, so it's like, don't do that, do this. Don't do that, do this. And today it's like society is more about, Lavita said, would have gotten that WAP. Society is more about transparency. And so it's like the kids today, they come out and they're like, this is who I am, you know, and you're supposed to love me for who I am. And my 9-year-old has no problems telling me, like, really, mom, this, you know, I'm your daughter, you know, like, let me be, in other words. So yeah, it's just about accepting them wholeheartedly for who they are. And I love how they are coming out today. It's just like, this is me.
Right.
I love it.
And that's how you're supposed to be, regardless, you know, regardless of what day and time it is. You're always supposed to love you, but I mean, from being, you know, under scrutiny for so long, you know, there was no inside of that.
And so, Ty, we kind of touched on like the main core topics, but I always like to wrap up the session with, you know, our Black men. You don't see a lot of them. Well, it varies, you know, but to mainstream and what they put on the media, you don't see a lot of the Black healthy families, and it's more praise for, you know, the hit it and quit it, and you know, no strings attached. Like, those things are like what is presented in mainstream media. But from the perspective of a man who is taking care of his wife, taking care of his family, shed some light to the younger men out there who, not, you know, because they might feel like it's lame or it's not as celebrated to be a family man or to be a man that takes care of their wife and children, you know, speak to some of the joys and beauties of having that core to come home to every night.
Well, put it this way. It's plain and simple. You get out what you put in. If you don't put anything in, you're not going to get anything back out. You have
That
to
was my
look at.
favorite saying.
Huh?
That was my grandfather's favorite saying.
Yeah. Pretty much. It's we have to think investment versus right now.
Mm-hmm.
And a relationship is an investment. I've learned that the long and the hard way, you know. But for the most part, I mean, I love what I've put out, you know, and I love my what I'm getting back in. You invest, you know, that's the mindset that we have to get back into, you know, investment, because you always get a return on an investment. If you spend, you take the SP off, it ends.
It ends.
You know?
You come through, Ty. That's a T-shirt. Take split off. You got in. Like, that's it. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
L, that's a T-shirt. And what is something that you wish somebody would have told you? You know, like before you got into this family ordeal, what is something that you wish somebody would have told young Ty?
Well, it's not what I wish someone would have told me. I'd rather make this statement right here. If you have children, you know, and this is scripture, you train them in the way that they should go. And hear me when I say this: train them in the way that they should go, so when they get older, they won't depart from the way that they
Should
go.
Mm-hmm.
Not how I think you should be raised or what I think you should do, or vice versa. Find that, you know, find that love, that passion that that child has. Feed that passion, feed that, because that's the way that they're supposed to go. And I guarantee you, when they get old, they'll keep doing that because that's what they love.
Yes.
You're not, mama made me do this, or daddy made me do this, or daddy did this, so I'm gonna do this because daddy did this. You know, no, they have to find their own identity. And for the most part, I think whereas the older generation, where I believe or I feel that they got wrong is, you know, they instilled a lot of things that they wanted us to do, opposed to, you know, seeing what it is that we love doing or whatever have you.
Yes. And that becomes a difficult thing when they see you doing something totally different from what they thought you would be doing.
And that's the reason why they depart from the way that they were trained, because that wasn't the way that they were supposed to go.
Yep. And we have to be totally fine with that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So Ty, is there anything that I did not ask you that you want to share from the Black man perspective?
I think you asked me all the questions that you wanted to ask me.
I can't stand you. Oh man, but this was awesome. And I really appreciate you for coming on and sharing. I think that is very important for other Black men to see other Black men who are happy, who are who have beautiful families, and they're taking care of their families. Because like I said, in media, this is not always as celebrated as what you would see, where there's like no strings attached. You over here, and I'm over here, and then we doing our own things, and I come together. You know, I come see you when I need something from you, versus like a beautiful, wholesome family.
Right. Yeah. There's power in investment.
Yes.
Power in investment.
You can keep coins in the bank, or you can invest them in stocks and bonds and get a whole greater return than if you would have just kept it in the bank with those small dividends.
Right.
Yeah. So once again, thank you very much.
I got a question for you. Do I send the invoice or this pro bono?
Pro bono. Get those numbers up on YouTube. Yeah. Share, like. Get those numbers up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And on Saturday, October 24th, we will be having our 6th annual. I got on one of my T-shirts from one of the old ones. We'll be having our 6th annual African Consciousness Coalition Festival, October 24th, 2 to 6 p.m., Monk's Corner, Love and Help and Hand Spiritual Center, 1347 Old US 52. And the website is www.akkfests.org. You can get your tickets for registration. You can sponsor or sign up to be a vendor. But this is a beautiful community event where we come together as a community. We support local businesses. The kids have a good time. We have candy for the children. A lot of us don't go trick-or-treating anymore, but we want our kids to just have a good time. So be out there. You might see Ty, you might not, you never know. You never know who you're going to see at the festival. It's always a beautiful thing though. What you got to say, Ty? All right, y'all. It's your girl Candace signing off for South Carolina by Black Locally, and Tyrae Chisolm signing off as our Fridays with Fathers guest on tonight. Y'all be safe and peace and blessings to all of you. We'll see you next time.
SCBBL show.
Rock on.
Rock.